to the Phoenix Zone and all things Cayman. Today, I'm at shores in West Bay with the Department of Environment to discuss about our Cayman bats. Today, I'm here with Miss Simone Williams, who is a part of the terrestrial unit for the DOE, and Mr. Josh, who is a research assistant for the DOE. So, what type of bats live in Cayman, and do we have the same bats on all three islands?
Well, in Cayman, we have a total of 9 species of bats, and the populations of which kind of differ slightly between the 3 islands. So here on Grand Cayman, we have one of the most common species is the species that resides in the bat houses, the velvety free-tailed bat. So they are one of our smaller species, but they are what they lack in size, they make up for in just sheer numbers. There are hundreds and if not thousands of them on Cayman. Our second most common species is our largest, the Jamaican fruit bat. They essentially they reside solely in caves. Like if you go to the Crystal Caves, the bats you will see there most likely will be Jamaican fruit bats. We also have a few other species. I'll just list them briefly now. We have the Waterhouse's big-eared bat, although those are very rare. We have the Greater Antillean nectar bat. We have the big brown bat. We have a unique subspecies of brown bats, the Grand Cayman brown bat. We have the red bat, which is very, very rarely seen. The buffy flower bat, which is endemic to the Greater Antilles and is only found between Cuba, Jamaica, and the Cayman Islands. And then there is also the Brazilian free-tailed bat, but more commonly known as the Mexican free-tailed bat, which is one of the most common bats in the Western Hemisphere.
So, what type of habitats do bats like to live in, and how do they help our environment?
Oh, well, all bat species are different, and different bats like different habitats based on the type of food they like to eat. For example, fruit bats quite like dense forest and also agricultural areas, places that have lots of fruiting trees. So they essentially like to fly among the trees, and because it provides protection from predators. And then when they and there's plenty of trees from with fruit which they can eat. So for example, mangoes are one of their favorites. Also, naseberries, guava, and so they're very, very important seed dispersers. So that's how Jamaican fruit bats benefit our ecosystem. They will often eat the seeds of many native fruits, and also pollinate the flowers of many native fruiting trees. And through basically pollination and seed dispersal, they allow more trees to grow. Without Jamaican fruit bats, we would have a lot less fruiting trees on island, especially things like mangoes, papayas, all the fruits that everyone here in Cayman loves to eat. And as for velvety free-tailed bats or insect-eating bats, the bats that live in the bat houses prefer more open areas. For example, like this kind of grassy knoll here, where there's plenty of open. They have plenty of space to fly around, and they're very, very acrobatic flyers. And they do all sorts of loop-de-loops and cool, neat tricks, like almost with the efficiency of a stunt plane, in order to get all the insects they need. So these bats solely eat insects, and they are capable of collecting all the food they need in less than 2 hours. And so they are essentially the free pest control. And so that's how these bats benefit our island.
So, I understand that the DOE knows a ton about bats. So, how does the DOE actually study the bats?
Well, there are a number of different ways. For one thing, DOE studies the success of the Bat House program, which was set up by the National Trust, and we started the Bat House monitoring program in 2019. We're looking to see how the populations of bats living in the bat houses changes over time, whether it's increasing or decreasing or staying the same. And also, the DOE has mapped out many caves across the Cayman Islands that essentially have bats. For example, there's one bat cave in the Salina Reserve, which is the only known roost for the Brazilian free-tailed bat here in the Cayman Islands. And they also have a look at they also investigate the bat species that live in the brack in the bluff. There are lots and lots of caves that are home to many species of bat. Whereas in Little Cayman, there are much fewer species of bat, but then again, it's mostly unexplored. So there's still a lot that we need to investigate.
Mm-hmm. So, Mr. Sam,
Yeah.
what type of bats are coming out right now?
So these are velvety free-tailed bats. They're Cayman's most common bat. They're quite small, as you can probably see. They're called that because they have like really soft fur, almost like velvet, and they have like a defined tail. If you watch, you can like see a little tail at the end, so they're called free-tailed. They're coming out to eat the insects that are also coming out now that the sun's gone down, and yeah, they'll be out for probably an hour to two, and then they'll go back and come out again near dawn and do it again. Yeah.
So, Mr. Lay, how do you study the bats?
So every night around this time, 6:45, we come out to the bat houses that we have all over the island, and we do what we call a bat count. So we either use these counters, which are click counters, so you just click them, or we use phone counters where you just press. So as every time a bat comes out, as we can see happening right now, we'll do a click, and then after they've all come out, which is normally around 7:30, we'll put them into this app we use called EpiCollect, which helps us track all of the bats across all of the houses and be able to analyze that data.
And how many bat houses are across all the islands?
Oh, across all the islands. Well, here in Cayman, there are around 80, but we only look at 42 for Bat Count Cayman because many of the others are in very inaccessible locations, and we want people to be able to access the bat houses in order to count them. So we wouldn't want people going into very dangerous territory where they could trip and fall and twist their ankle. But across the whole island, I believe there's about 9 in Little Cayman, and in the Brac, there's probably 1 or 2. I don't know how many exactly there are in the Brac, but there are quite a few bat houses, and they've been providing apparently been providing quite good homes for our velvety free-tailed bats.
In Little Cayman, there's actually they count their bats, and they have a bat house counting program as well. It actually runs during September to November because that's when the most of the residents have returned to Little Cayman. In the Brac, the bat house program is not as active because there's so many caves, and most of the caves have the bats in them. But we are looking in the future to expand the program to the Brac and actually utilize different technologies, maybe some more cameras, like high motion cameras, so we can count the bats using motion cameras, or using acoustic monitoring to figure out which species are present within the bat caves in the Brac. So that's something we're looking forward to doing in the future.
So, what is the benefit of the bat houses?
So the bat houses are actually to help people not have bats in their attics or invading any other parts of their homes. Pretty much because we have developed the area and where these bats have naturally occurred, the bat houses provide a substitute like home for them. And it also prevents the bats from becoming a pest to people. So that's actually why we should have bat houses near residential areas. And also, like, if anyone wants to have a bat house on their property, they're welcome to contact the National Trust because they're in charge of putting up those bat houses for people.
Thank you so much, Ms. Simone.
You're welcome.
And thank you so much, Mr. Josh.
No problem, Phoenix, anytime.